All right, so welcome back for part 2 of finding surface area of three-dimensional figures. Tonight we're going to be using this column right here, which is the formulas column. I've zoomed in and you can see that the net, which is what we worked with today in class, using area of composite figures. We are going to be using I'm going to give you what their formulas are, so now you don't have to find the area of each little section using a net. You can just take the numbers they give you for the width, the length, and the height, or the edges, the sides, the bases, whatever the formula calls for, and you can plug those into these formulas, which we will give you, and get their surface areas. Okay, so we're actually going to just start with the cube here. So the formula, if you look at your cube, is surface area, which is capital S, capital A. Surface area equals 6 times A squared. So that means we're doing 6 times A times A. And A here is the edge length of each of those cube edges. So I'm going to pull in my journal notes, and I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit. So in your journal notes, I want you to title this next page Surface Area with Formulas. Surface Area with Formulas. This is like part 2 of last night's lesson. Part 1 was using the composite figures, the nets, and getting the formulas there. And then part 2 is teaching you how to use these formulas. Okay, so again, the cube, if you look at your chart, the formula for the cube is SA, which is surface area, equals 6 times A squared. Even if you're just finding the area of a rectangle, you know that is base times height or length times width. You need to get in a habit of writing down the formula every time, because then you will catch any mistakes that you made when substituting your numbers in to get the area. So it's a really good idea every time, even if you know it's really easy to figure out, write your formulas down and show your work, okay? Even if you get to use a calculator. So surface area equals 6 times A squared. A is the side edge. Okay, and let's make sure we know this is a cube. Okay, a cube. Like a dice or a square box, anything that's a cube. Okay, so we're going to do something that Miss Hogg is not really that great at doing, and that is going to be drawing a three-dimensional figure. Okay, so I always like to just draw a regular square first, and then I will draw the side part, and then I can draw the back. Okay, so again, it's not perfectly sized just right, but it works. So here we have one side, and I'm going to give you that the side, or the A, is 4. Each side is 4 centimeters. Okay, so you should be able to plug that number into the formula and solve. So if I did that over here, it would be SA, surface area, equals 6 times A, which is 4, and then times 4 again, because 4 times 4 is A squared. So I can use my calculator, and I get 6 times 4 times 4 equals 96. That is my answer. So the surface area is 96 centimeters squared. Okay? Now, I circle that as my answer. Now we're going to move down to the right rectangular prism, which is this shape right here. Notice that on a right rectangular prism, that's a normal rectangular prism, you have the length is always the bottom, the length of the box, like this is a box. The width is going to be like the depth, the third dimension going back. And then the height is how tall the box is. Okay, that's really important because you're going to see here in the formula, it refers to all of those different dimensions. Okay, so I'm just going to copy my formula straight from my formula page that I gave you last night. And so now we're on rectangular prism. Okay, and the formula is surface area equals 2, and then there's a parentheses, and in the parentheses it's WL plus HL plus HW parentheses. Okay, so I'm going to show you what each of these things means on the sides. W is width. This is on your sheet as well, but I'm just going to write it again. L, and I do a cursive L just so you won't get confused between a number 1 and a lowercase l, is length. Sometimes I use a capital L as well. And then height is what the H is. Okay? So I'm going to bring those in. Sorry. So in the formula you can see here that it's width times length plus height times length plus height times width. And all of those are what you do first because they're in the parentheses. Remember, PEMDAS, parentheses, is first. So you have to do everything inside the parentheses first. Well, inside the parentheses you're multiplying, multiplying, multiplying. Once you get those numbers, you're adding those 3 together. And at the very end, you cannot forget this 2 on the outside. You're going to do 2 times everything that's inside, whatever you get inside. So I'll show you how to do that now. Okay, so I'm going to draw my rectangular prism. Again, I am not an artist or an expert at drawing 3-dimensional figures, so hopefully works out okay. Okay, so there's my rectangular prism. Okay, so I'm going to give you these numbers here. We have 9 millimeters, 3 millimeters, and 13 millimeters. Okay, so which is what? Okay, well, I'm going to highlight different things, different colors, so you can see. So the width is always going to be how far it goes back. So this is your width. It's gonna be green. Your length is going to be how long it is from side to side in the front. So that's your length. Okay, and your height is how tall the prism, the box, is. Okay, so now that I've color-coded all that for you, you should be able to just rewrite it and plug in your numbers. So we have here SA equals 2 parentheses. Okay, so now we're going to do 9 times L, which is 13, plus 3 times L, which is 13, plus 3 times 9. So all I did there was I just substituted my values in for the different things. The height I put in here, the length I put in here, and the width I put in where the width is. So it can get a little confusing. That's why color coding is always okay. Checking again is always okay. So now I'm just going to PEMDAS this out. Okay? So I'm going to start with the parentheses, and inside there's no exponents, so we can skip the E. We're going to go straight to multiplication. Okay? Well, using my calculator, I can see 9 times 13 is 117. Okay, that's 117. Plus 3 times 13 is 39. And 3 times 9, well, that's easy. That's 27. Okay, so now I'm going to add all these together because I'm still inside the parentheses. Now I need to add those together. So I get 117 plus 39 plus 27 is 183. That's all inside the parentheses, okay? Now, don't forget about this 2. Now I need to do, I'm going to take, sorry about that equal sign there, 2 times 183, okay? So times 2 at the end, and you get 366. So the surface area of this rectangular prism, if we were to measure all the sides, like you measured the whole area of the surface of it, it would be 366 millimeters squared. Okay, so that's it for tonight. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow, is we're going to be using these formulas to figure out the area. And again, you could do the same thing with the triangular prisms, the rectangular prisms, and the square pyramids by using the formulas they give you. You just substitute what you know in, but you won't be using those as much, okay? Not tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good night.